Hey y'all, it's Lippy with Gemini Homestead. I got a fast, easy supper. We're going to be making shepherd's pie. So, I'm going to bring you in closer, but all I've done at this point is I'm browning a pound of ground chuck. Everyone can brown ground chuck. You can also use ground turkey, ground chicken, ground pork. You can really make shepherd's pie your own, but I'm going to do a traditional recipe. And that's where you can take this and then add it to your family's liking. As you can see, the meat is about 3/4 done. This is a lean meat, so I won't be draining it. I still see a little bit of pink, and that's when we're going to come in with 1 medium diced onion. I always like to add my vegetables, my onions and my garlic at this point, so it can then get into the meat and flavor it. That was 1 medium diced sweet onion, 2 garlic cloves chopped. This goes real fast, y'all. Now to get a jump start, I went ahead and mashed some potatoes. This is just 3 large russet potatoes. But you want to go ahead and get your potatoes mashed and have them sitting off to the side. You kind of really want them to sit. They firm up better and they hold on top of your shepherd's pie. So try to do your potatoes early if you can. So all we're doing is we're still sauteing the onions and the garlic with the meat. I've got my fire on high. Now this is where I'm going to go in with some seasoning. This is about a tablespoon of Creole seasoning going in. This is where you turn it to your family's liking. If you don't want it spicy, leave out the heat. And I've got some thyme that I dry myself. And if I'm going to measure, I'm thinking 1/8 of a teaspoon, because you know thyme is very pungent. And I like to break my dried herbs up. It brings out the oils and the flavors. So that's about 1/8 of a teaspoon. Because you don't want to overpower it, but you want to give a little bit of that flavor. Now you can hear it actually starting to make noise. It's actually starting to cook on down. Now I'm going to come in with some Himalayan salt. Now I'm not measuring, but if I was to measure, I'd say a teaspoon. And I may add more. I'll be able to tell by the smell. Black pepper. We're keeping it simple, y'all. And that was probably, I'd say, a good heaping teaspoon. Now we're going to add some Worcestershire. And if I'm guessing, I didn't measure it, I would say a tablespoon. Now this is strictly optional. I think it brings out the meat flavor. Now we're mixing up a slurry. This is a cup of beef broth, warm. I'm not one that adds a cold broth to anything that's heated. I think it cools things down too much, and it's really hard to get that temperature back to an even control. But this is a teaspoon of cornstarch. Y'all, I've been using baking powder today. Cornstarch. And a cup of warm beef broth. And I call this a semi-thin slurry. If it was a true slurry, you would have 1/4 of a cup of the broth or water, whatever your own hand, with a teaspoon of the cornstarch. All right, we're going to go in, and I always set mine in the center. And then I bring my meat into it. As you can see, I'm stirring my meat from the outside in. There is a method to my madness, y'all. Because what this does is you're bringing that meat in, it's pulling that juice out to the outside. If you was to just pour it around here, then what's going to happen is it's all going to boil up in the middle. You're trying to get that slurry to stay together so it'll thicken up the meat. But anytime you're adding a liquid, try to make a well, pour it in the center, pull your meat in. As your meat's pulling in, it'll evenly distribute it out. And I'm only going to cook this just a few minutes, y'all, and we're going to be adding the vegetables, and we're going to mix it on up and put it in the oven. Dinner's done. This is really, truly something you can whip up in no time. The longest part of this will be baking it in the oven. And of course, I bake mine, if I was guessing, 30 minutes. I like my top of my potatoes to get a little bit of henna brown. But we'll go over to that step. Okay, I've turned the fire off. And we're going to go in with 12 ounces. I might use the whole 12, and this is just peas and carrots. Now this is where I have changed it, and I've used cauliflower, broccoli, carrots, diced up small. But when you can find 12-ounce bag of frozen peas and carrots, 2 for $1, yeah, I'm going to go that route. But we're going to be able to, I'll be able to tell you. I'm not sure if it's going to take the whole bag. Yes, it is. So that, we just measured it, y'all. That's 12 ounces. Now I'm going to get this incorporated. I'm going to turn the camera around. We're going to work on the first shepherd's pie and get it done. And you'll see how I put it together. Okay, y'all, I swapped spoons. I'm just going to make one up so you'll get the idea, and I'll finish these, and then I'll show you what I top them with going in the oven. So I'm going to fill these ramekins up 3/4 of the way. Well, a little bit more. There we go. Then I'm going to come in with some mashed potatoes. Let me see if I can get in the camera. I'll just set it like this. And this is where you add as much as you want of potatoes. Now I'll bring the camera up closer so you can see. I don't like mine overflowing the ramekin because as this heats up in the oven, the juice will bubble up around it, and then you may have a mess. Doesn't bother us, but if you want pretty presentation, don't overfill it. There you go. It doesn't have to be pretty. Here you go. Okay, now that's one. Depending on how many potatoes I have, I may come back and add a little bit more. But I'll get these mixed up, and then I'll show you the last step before they go in the oven. Okay, we got them all full. We've got 6 ramekins. I actually had about a 1/2 cup of mashed potatoes left. So I just went ahead and finished it off, adding to the top. But now, the mixture of the meat and the vegetables, that actually makes 6 ramekins. But this is where I'm going to change mine up. I do put butter on mine. Now, sometimes I'll put grated cheddar cheese about the last 5 minutes because Buddy likes it like that. But today, I'm just going to add some dollops of butter, and that's just going to melt into the potatoes. And I'm using salted butter. Most of the time, I don't use unsalted. That's just one of my failures, I guess. There we go. I'm going to add a little bit. Oh, I missed some of these. I'm going to add a little bit more. But like I said, y'all, this is very easy. You could even take your leftover meatloaf. Yes, crumble it up because it's already got, if you're using a tomato-based top, crumble it up, add a little bit of broth, start from there, add your vegetables. Your meat's already cooked. That speeds it up even faster. Okay. All right, we're done with the butter. Let me get my rag. I hated to walk in front of y'all. And then I'm going to top mine with a little paprika. Now, I don't use smoky paprika. I'm not a big fan of that. Well, I would be in more of a southwestern type Mexican, maybe. I don't know. It's kind of like cilantro. It's one of those love-hate relationships. I can't get my paprika out. But I wanted to share something with y'all. You know, I grew up, and my mom used to say there was 3 senses to taste, and I didn't understand what she was saying. And I love food. Y'all know I love the kitchen. Some new ones that's just joining our channel. You'll see a lot of recipes. But my mom used to always say there was 3 tastes. 1 with eyes, 2 with smell, 3 is with the taste. And it made all the sense in the world. So when these come out, they look very pretty. That's our plan. So the presentation is there. When it sits in front of me, I'm going to smell it. I'm one step closer. And I don't know, it just, you could do it in a solid pie too, you know. But I love cooking for my family, and if I've got the time, and I do try to make the time, I dress it up. And y'all see, this doesn't break the bank. You know, that's always my motto. But just a little bit of pretty. Yeah, that's a lady's term, pretty. It's just another little step to say, you know, I love my family so much that I want to add a little bit of special touch. And you see, I'm trying to slowly sprinkle this paprika. Because if I just tried to dump it, yeah, try to get paprika off of mashed potatoes. It's not happening, y'all, I'm telling you. Yeah, you're just going to have a big old blob, and it's going to... even regular paprika, they say it doesn't have a flavor. It doesn't. Till you put a teaspoon in your mouth. Ooh, Lord. Okay, we're going to put this in the oven. I've got the oven set on 375. A minimum of 30 minutes. You'll start, there's really no set time, but I'll tell you what, when it comes back out the oven, I'm going to time it for y'all. I'm thinking 40 minutes because you want a little bit of that golden brown. So we're going to get this in the oven on 375. And we're going to have, y'all know what that means when you drop a rag? I was just on Living Miracles homestead last night. That just made me think about it. When you drop a kitchen rag, the old saying is that means somebody's coming over with a hole in their britches. So that must be meaning Buddy's on his way home. So these things like this, when they drop, it just brings back memories. And I don't like to cut these out because I want to keep it real. But we're going to have a spinach and arugula salad on the side with a vinaigrette dressing. I kind of like that tartness, that coolness, because this dish is so savory. So we'll time it and we'll see how long it is, and I'll show you the results. So what do you think of the results? I went ahead and did a picture so you could see all 6 shepherd's pies, but I'm about to sit and eat my salad, which is arugula and spinach, my shepherd's pie. It took 40 minutes. I did time it. I was estimating 40 minutes and I was correct. But in the previous clip, you saw the golden brown color that I was trying to get. And really and truly, it's really not golden brown. It's almost a yellow tone. But this is going to be an easy meal for your family. You can use leftovers. I hope you try it. If you do, let me know. But remember, you can make it with any meat, with any gravy. You can make it with any vegetables. That's why it's called shepherd's pie. They used to take what they could, and it was a filler. And you can also do it in a pie. I just happen to choose to do it in the single servings. So I hope you enjoy this video, and until next time, God bless.